Hi, so what I'm going to do today is just show you how to contour. I've already put my base on, my moisturiser, and everything I'm going to show you now I've put in a little diagram that you can look at for a quick reference. So first of all I'm going to put on my foundation. So I'm using the Lumi Magique because it's quite light and it's got light infusing particles apparently. So let's put a bit on my hand and use a foundation brush to just spread it over the face. So mainly nose, around the nose, under the eye. You're just trying to even out your complexion. You don't want a lot of foundation because it'll sit in all the lines and draw attention to them. And if you use your finger, sometimes the grease can interact with makeup and it won't sit as well. So I'd always suggest using a brush for your foundation. And you can put a primer on if you want, but I tend not to because it sometimes feels like it's a bit dry and makes your skin dry. Okay, so now I'm going to put some concealer on, and I'm using Revlon's Photo Ready. So it comes in a stick, so I'm just going to put a bit on my finger, and so you can see underneath the eye. I'm spreading it out. Don't bring it right up to the lash line because it'll make your eyes, under eye circles, look darker than they are. And put it on the forehead here, down the nose, and then anywhere else you need it. So down the centre of the face basically. So I'm just going to blend that in lightly. You don't want to do it too much yet because we'll go over and blend it all later. So already you can see that down the centre of my face looks a bit lighter than everywhere else, and that's why we want to draw the attention to the centre and to the cheeks. So once that's blended in a little bit, then we're going to start the contouring. You start with dark first. So I tend to use Dallas from Benefit. It comes with a brush that's quite good for contouring, but the powder sticks to it. So I'm just going to wipe that off. So you should have a bit on here, which will be enough. So what I usually do is start underneath the cheekbones. If you need to, make a face. You can see where the cheekbones are, so I'm going right up here. I'm going to do the top round my eyebrow here, and that's just going to make the face feel a little bit slimmer, and it's going to highlight my cheekbones. So I'm just going to start patting it until I know the place it's going. And you can start building on it. And you can use a darker foundation if you want, but I just tend to use, I think it's easier to use a bronzer. So you don't want it to be too obvious, you don't want any lines, you're just trying to create a shadow underneath your cheek. There we go. Do the other side and make sure that it's as even as you can make them. So around the top of the eyebrow, down, and underneath the cheekbone. I'm going to blend it in a minute. Just getting the general shape in. So what we're trying to do is all the parts that are going to be in shadow are going to look further into the skin, and the bits that are highlighted are going to look like they're going to pop out. There we go. It's quite subtle, but it makes a difference. Now what I'm going to do is a chin to the jawline. So my jawline's quite straight anyway, so I can just go straight along. Just swipe it, and it gives you a stronger jawline and makes your chin look a bit slimmer. So it gives a more angle towards the bottom of the face. There we go. And then what I want to do is do down the sides of the nose. And this is going to make the nose appear slimmer. And then we're going to highlight it in the centre, which again is going to make it slimmer. So you don't want loads on the nose, you shouldn't look like you've got something on there. What you're trying to do is just make shadow the sides so it looks slimmer. There we go. And then just get any like brush and blend it. just so to make sure there's no harsh lines or anything like that. And if you need to, go over it a little bit again. I usually go over the cheekbones quite a lot because I like my cheekbones to be quite prominent. And then blend. And then we're going to start on the highlighter, and you can use, there's this one which you can get from Benefit, which is a high beam, which is a liquid one, or I sometimes use this one, which is a powder one, gives a bit of a golden finish, and this is from Topshop, but you can get them from loads of places. So what I usually do is use this one first, and then at the end just over it with a bit of this. So this one, give it a shake. And then I usually put it on my finger. I don't use this because it's not precise enough, it's not a great brush. So put it on your finger. I'm going to tap it along my cheekbone, under my eye. These are all the places you want the light to cling to. I'm just going to do one side of my face first. Down the centre of your nose, top here, top of the cupid's bow, and the chin, just like the round bit, the apple of the chin. And I'm going to get my foundation brush, and I'm just going to blend it in, and it should have a little bit of foundation on, so it's not going to look too pale, it's just going to catch the light. So just blend it all. So you shouldn't really be able to tell it's there unless you're in the light. I'm going to put a little bit more underneath, in between the layer of bronzer here and here, just to make them more prominent. Because you want this part of your jaw to stand out to make it look like you've got a lengthened jawline. Then I'm going to do the other side. So tap it along. So stop about here because you don't want to get to the nose, because if you get to the nose it'll look like your nose is oily. We don't want that. And put it above the eyebrow again. And here. We don't want to overload with highlighter because we don't want to look like our face is glittery. It's just to try and get that glow. So once all that is been blended in, I get my brush again, just go over it to make sure there's no harsh lines, and then just look, see if there's anywhere else you need a bit of darkness. Now my face is quite wide, so what I tend to do is shadow out the pieces I don't want. So I want to shadow out this part of my face, the sides. If your face is long, you can put shadow in the hairline to make it look a bit shorter. So I'm just going to put it along my hairline down here and along the top of my head. This is going to make my face appear slimmer. And I'm going to blend that. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but at least I'm showing you where to put everything. And then now I'm going to put a little bit of this on, the powder one, and it can be quite strong. So I just tend to put a little bit in the brush and tap it off. And just sweep it over where I've already put my highlighter, and it just kind of adds to it, just gives it a bit more shine. And if you need to do it a bit more precisely, put it on your finger, underneath the eyebrow, down the centre of the nose, a bit on the forehead, chin, cupid's bow, and then the other side. And then once you've got all the highlighter off your brush, you can blend it again. Make sure you're not spreading glitter on your face. You can use 2 different brushes if you want. And then just top up wherever you need it. And this is a good daytime look. It's a good everyday look if it's something you don't like about yourself. I mean, my cheeks are quite big, so that's why I put a lot of dark underneath my cheekbones to make them stand out more. So it's a good way of changing things you don't like. You don't need plastic surgery, you can do it with makeup. It's a subtle thing, so most people can't tell you're wearing a lot of makeup but it does make a big difference. But you just need to make sure it's blended so you can't tell. There's no harsh lines. So then I'd put my mascara on, lipstick or whatever, and you can do this on a night out. You can use this as your base and then put your makeup on top of it, but I usually use this as a day thing, and good luck with trying it. Practice makes perfect.